Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Factorio Masochists Marathon. I want to say Bob's Angels absolutely every single time. Anyway, I thought I'd do a little update real time, because this is always fun. So we've got our radar up here. We're scanning this area, basically. We found this lake here, which is kind of cool. Might be able to fill in bottlenecks here. And then hopefully, this lake is quite big. Comes over here, and we can sort of cap this area off. My plan is to clear all this, and then obviously we have access to everything really, which would be amazing. Some nice patches around here. Nice patch here, 4.3 million, the biggest one around here. So maybe it'll look nice around here, and we can fill in quite a big wall here, but still using the bodies of water. But yeah, so while we let that scan, I'm going to come and do some caretaking. I'll edit it down heavily. But yeah, there's places like Iron Outpost 1, which is almost completely gone, so we could probably try and speed this up a little bit. And also copper, we need to mine the rest of this, so our high-tech science pack production can expand out. But we're not going to need that for quite a while, because of course, a very small amount of green circuits coming through. And as you can see, that's down to a lack of iron, but enough rambling around at normal speed. I'm going to get some stuff together. Don't know how I'm going to edit it all down exactly. But yeah, we'll see. We'll do a bit of caretaking. I'm going to cover the rest of these in miners because we really need to have the best flow of iron we can. But I'm really going to need an Iron Outpost 3 soon. There is this one we can access in an emergency, but I would like to get one up here. But obviously, there's a lot of this in the way, so we'll see. We'll see. I'll leave it here, and yeah, I'll be back in just a few seconds probably, or future me will take over anyway. Hello, future me. So we start the episode off with our maintenance sessions, which I'm going to be doing at 1000% time speed. I can't really work that out because it's in percentages. But yeah, these are going to be very quick. And due to the number of outposts, this is going to be a regular thing at the start of some episodes, I think. I didn't really want to take it out completely, so we're going to be doing them very quickly. I don't really know how this is going to come out, but we'll give it a go. And if it's really annoying, then let me know. So we start with Copper Outpost 1. And then onto Iron Outpost 1. While we're doing this, we do reduce the modular power armor, or just modular armor. But I do want to get to the best armor we can, so we can get away from laser turret biter pushing as soon as we can. But obviously, we're going to have to deal with it for a while. And already onto the coal. This is going absurdly quick at 1000 times percent. Is that times 10? Well, yeah, whatever. Anyway, we get the coal done. We get all the coal expanded and the power poles in place, ready just for the rest of the miners. And we've nearly got rid of the starting copper. Replace the miners just to cover that with a few more and just deal with the coal as well. Then we jump over to the Iron Outpost 2 train to go and have a look up there. We also have a nest right next to the track that I will have to deal with at some point. So up at Iron Outpost 2, we deal with the miners here. And I move some of the tracks over because they're going to be depleted soon. And I want to cover the whole patch in miners. So we get all that done nice and quickly as well. This will start triggering attacks up here, but I'm pretty confident the lasers will be able to do fine. So if this was just left to its own devices, this whole thing would get mined, no problem at all. And we just have a mess around with these splitters at the bottom here as well, because I didn't quite place them properly, but it doesn't really matter because these bottom miners are going to be depleted very soon, so the throughput doesn't really matter. So down to 3 times speed for this bit, because I wanted to put in, for the first time, is Madzuri's train station. I've never used it before, but I really do like it. So we wire all the chests together with one green wire, and then on a separate circuit we wire all the input inserters for the chests. Then we wire each chest to each individual inserter, not connecting them together. So basically the whole purpose of this is, if anyone doesn't know, I mean most people know about this now, and I've never really used it because I've never bothered to actually find out what it's for. So it looks at the average number of any item or every item in the chests, and basically just tries to keep the number of items in each chest roughly the same. So what this stops happening is the first chest grabbing every item, and then when the train comes along, you're limited just to the first couple of chests. You don't get the throughput of all the chests. So what that'll do, it'll just keep the number of items in all the chests equal, and it'll speed up the rate in which the train is filled up without us having to put stack inserters in. I mean, I'm going to do it at some point, but I probably can't justify it for that particular outpost because it's just not got enough throughput. I mean, it would speed it up a little bit, but that Madzuri train layout is going to do that essentially for free, just for the price of a few wires and a arithmetic combinator. So we've got that in. All seems to be working okay. We do have a look at it later on, and all the chests have roughly the exact same number of ores in. And as those build up, you know you're mining more than you're actually transporting, which is kind of a good thing, so long as you're not using more than you can transport, but that is a hell of a lot for a train. So we have a quick look at the armor there for where I want to get to, but it is going to take a while. But we start researching it because I kind of need it. I could really be doing more laser upgrades, but while we're doing that, our radar up on the corner gets destroyed, but I kind of leave it because they're kind of leaving the track and the power poles alone, so I just ignore it. So I was kind of looking at where I'm going to put the tracking, because I'm going to basically clear up to this iron patch up here in the gap between the water. So I'm down here getting some resources, getting some laser turrets. So we're going to have a cut here. I'm going to go and do that, and then I'll probably see you in the future up at that iron patch, at the 1.9 million patch. So see you in a few seconds. Just before I leave for the biter slaying, I decided to get some accumulators in, just as a backup, but also an indicator if we're prolonging any overuse of power. We'll be able to see if the accumulators have dropped, but mainly as a backup. And also, while we were doing this, the power armor finished, which took was a lot quicker than I realized. So then we kick off some laser turret damage research. So the first of the high-tech research is going to take a long time because we're not producing very much, and that's mostly down to the lack of green circuits, which we can work on now. I will extend that area in a little bit, but we need a little bit more resources, which is what we're doing this biter pushing for. So see you in the future. So that's some very crude defenses in this area, but it gives us 1.9 mil iron. I've pushed the biters back to pretty much minimum. Probably should have taken this one out. I might do that in a second. But yeah, this is taking me a while just to get this bit cleared. What I'm going to have to do next is look at getting a very crude rail in here. Basically, I've decided to go for this patch because it's the closest for me to clear out. This one was just a bit too small to justify going for, but I really need an iron patch soon because this one's already down to 805. So yeah, I'm going to go and put all this together, and we'll work out how much time, if we've got enough time this episode, to put the rail in here. I don't know where I kind of want it. I either want to bring it along here, but then it clashes with this, and up here, and then have a station around here. I don't know. Or bring it up here and along here, giving us access to all this. But yeah, I want to keep it as straight as I can. Kind of quite a bit anal about that. But yeah, we'll get more radars in here. We've got one here, but we want to kind of push out as much as we can because I want to see if we can try and get this whole area here. But yeah, it is quite a big ask. But we're slowly getting through our laser turret damage 5 very, very slowly. But hopefully if we can get this patch hooked up, we can increase this some more, because this is running pretty much as a yellow belt will support. We'll get some more yellow belts in and double up this production. So I'll see you in just a few seconds, or future me will. Well, future you. Just thought it was also worth noting where we are at with the evolution, which is currently 0.84. So yeah, we've got like 0.1 until BMOS, is that right? Yeah, 0.11. Yeah, me and maths get on really well. Anyway, let's get on with clearing the rail. I think I've decided where I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it coming up here, and then just before we hit the stone, I'm going to go along here so we can access these patches here. I'll have to use some belts, but oh well, they're not exactly going to last very long. And then we'll come up here, and we'll probably create a station here, because we're going to want to get to this as well. But it's better than coming along here, hitting this, and coming up here. And yeah, I seem most happy with this. And we can get a radar in to see what's behind this bit here, because hopefully this lake is lovely and big and goes all the way along here, but it probably won't. So anyway, I'll see you after I've probably got this rail in, or at least cleared it, and then we'll probably have the episode with Far where we put the track in and get Iron Outpost 4. Yeah, Iron Outpost 4 going. But as you can see, Iron Outpost 1 is about to die, so we'll get that cleaned up as well. So that's Iron Outpost 1 all cleared up. I thought I'd leave that just as a little ×10 montage, and we get on with the biter pushing. So I'll just have little bits of taking out bases, all the interesting bits, none of the picking up of the turrets. But it's my first time doing this. And I've kind of rushed it because this means videos are going to take longer to make, but they should be a lot more entertaining when doing biter slaying and less tedious. But give me any feedback if you feel there's any suggestions you have. But yeah, it's my first time doing it, and because of the lack of time, I did rush it a little bit. Anyway, we get on with the biter slaying. First of all, very easy because it's quite thin, and then yeah, past me will occasionally come up with updates. So a bit of an update. I'm ghosting the rail in so that File can just fill it in when we're done. We've come up to here. File's currently waiting here. Or the X Iron Outpost Train 1 acting as File for the moment. So we're just about to hit the thick of the Red Sea. I just thought I'd do an update on the evolution as well. Not too much since we last checked. Although, did I actually have that in the recording? I'm not sure. That might have been for my personal use. But yeah, we are now to now push on through here. So the idea is we're going to come up here and we'll have a station here. We use quite a bit of belts, but again, these outposts aren't lasting very long. So yeah, continuing on with the biter slaying. Thanks past me. Yes, we did look at the evolution before we started. It's going up sort of slower than usual, but I think as the higher it gets, the longer it takes to go up. So we're just skipping through a few scenes with some biter slaying and me putting out the ghost rails. A lot of the bases to the south are a lot easier, but these ones to the north where they're surrounded were a bit more difficult, but we get through them eventually. So we have a little repairing session and we have a quick look at the evolution. Now at 0.859. I think we're at 0.850 to begin with, but yeah, nearly at the lake. So the beauty of these edited biter pushing bits is I can get through a lot more biters in an episode. Just doing this rail up to here would have taken about an hour. So yeah, this would have been a whole episode before. So now it only takes up half an episode. With the amount of biters we're going to have to be clearing, this method is going to work quite well. So we get the last bit of rail in, then we get an attack down the south. They actually take out a power pole. And luckily I just reached where the power was in the north, so we get that connected up. So the defenses aren't in jeopardy. We also get the award for producing a certain amount of processing units, which is always nice. It shows that that's kind of speeding up as well. But yeah, I'm really surprised they've attacked that power pole down there. They've ignored all of these thus far and finally decided to attack those. So I'm not quite sure why that's happened, but we take File up and we get it to fill in all that ghost rail for us. You literally just hit a button and it just goes and fills it all in for me. I was placing rail signals as well because this line is going to get very busy soon with all these resources up here in the northeast. This is northeast, isn't it? Yeah, up in the northeast desert. So we get the rail in and there's a little bit more clearing I want to do, and then we'll get the station set up. So this last bit of station clearing is going to be just at 3 times speed. I didn't really have enough time today to get any more footage recorded and edited and getting this all rendered in time. But we just have a check round all of the outposts. There's a new biter base set up as well. Copper 1 almost completely depleted, but luckily there's 3 copper patches south of this rail. You can just see them there. So we're going to get those all hooked up next episode, I believe. There's also a cut there just because I saved the game in the recording and my save files are all a bit of a mess. So yeah, I just wanted to cut that out. And yeah, so we've got the power now connected up here, which is a bit dangerous. If any of these poles get taken out, all the defenses running up here will cease to exist, well, cease to function more like, and won't work. So we need to get that power pole put back in down in the south. But I'm a bit worried about that now because up until now, they've completely ignored power poles. So I'm really curious why they've actually attacked it. Maybe it was a attack triggered by pollution and the biters behave differently when that happens. So I'll have to go down, put that power pole back in. And to be honest, we'll clear all those biters out in the middle, I think. That area will get populated again because they do appear to just ignore the rails and run past it. But we'll clear most of it out for those 3 copper patches. Anyway, for the copper patches, I'm probably going to put in just 1 station and then have a load of belts in. Yeah, the belts are going to have to travel quite far, but those patches aren't going to last very long at all. And everything we put into those outposts get recycled into new ones anyway. So I want to push these biters out quite a bit just so I can work on this station without getting attacked too much. I'll probably end up pushing it out a bit too far, but better to be safe than sorry while I'm doing this. We don't really want attacks being triggered by pollution, which have now started happening quite a bit. We're getting fairly regular attacks over at Iron Outpost 2 and down at the coal outpost as well. There seems to be a new base that's set up just south of the coal patch, and now we're using that completely. The coal starting patch and the coal copper patch is completely depleted. We're completely using the coal outpost, so the pollution cloud there is getting quite big, and that's triggering attacks, and there's a base at the bottom that's quite close, so whenever they attack, the lasers destroy them, and we get stuck in that old classical perpetual cycle of attacks, basically. But yeah, back to the normal 3 times speed of biter pushing. It is pretty dull, me picking up turrets and repairing them, but it was just enough footage to fill in for the 20 minutes. Plus, it's an opportunity for me to have a rant, because you know how much I like just ranting and rambling on about absolutely nothing in particular. We did look at the evolution scale a few moments ago. We're now at 0.86. So it is slowing down. There's a lot of biter nest slaying going on, but the evolution scale is, the growth has slowed down a bit, so it clearly is a factor where the higher it gets, the more pollution and time needs for it to grow. So that's kind of good in my favor. We're going to be putting off behemoths a bit longer. Hopefully we'll get the first stage of laser turret damage with the high-tech science packs, which is absolutely great. You can see there it's taken a very long time to get up that high, but once we get some more iron coming in and some more copper, we can increase the rate of green circuit production, streamline that, and increase the amount of high-tech science packs, and just get the whole factory running at a far greater rate, and we'll be able to deal with attacks a lot better. But I do still need to get a proper perimeter sorted. I'm just like my last series, just so obsessed with just filling in bottlenecks and clearing those biters up. And so far, we've survived relatively okay with a few attacks here and there. So we get the last of our turrets repaired, and we can now get on with laying out the station. So I'm going to kind of have it here. I was contemplating clearing that other patch soon and having belts bring iron down here, and we have one station, or we could just have a second station up there. I don't really know. It depends on how much is left of this patch when we start mining the other patch. So we'll just see how it goes and deal with it when we need it. So I bring file up because I ran out of rails laying out the track, and I kind of have a bit of diagonal here just to fit that in past the poles, so I don't have to move it and mess around with it. And plus it's nice and straight with the poles running into the station. We get a return line in, so we can have the station on this side, and then the carriages are closest to the patch. But yeah, I wasn't with these outposts because they're not going to be lasting very long. I'm really not amazingly fussed until we get really far out. The further away from the base, the richer the patches will get. I did double check that is actually the case. But yeah, the further away we get, the longer the outposts will last, so the more bothered I'll be about setting them up and making them actually look all right. We get some defenses in here because no doubt we're going to be getting some attacks in from the north. We also trigger an attack there because it's slightly too close to that nest, so I just push up quickly and take out the nest just so they're not hanging around too close to the laser turrets and not getting any perpetual attacks like I keep mentioning, because they're not great. They're a constant drain of power. Putting in those accumulators did help. There were a couple of occasions where the power did go down a little bit, but the accumulators always sort of filled in those gaps where I had a huge number of turrets all shooting at once, but it never was for a very long time, so it never actually depleted the accumulators very much, but that did kind of help. I get all the station laid out. I am going to do a Matsuri style loading here. I do really like that concept. I wish I'd actually bothered to pay attention to it, you know, a lot earlier than I did. I just kind of knew of it, ignored it, didn't really actually make any effort to understand what it actually does. But now I realise what it does. It's actually really good. I quite like it. But I'd be interested to hear people's opinions on it. I want to do the same thing on the oil loading, because then you'll get a very equal oil loading balance. You won't have one tank waiting to be filled while another two are completely full. So that'll be quite cool. I'll get that done when we can actually justify it, but that's not going to be for a very long time. We're still going to be running in this limited kind of resource style. So I get 4 belts worth of iron with the number of miners I have on me. I do miss that bit on the left there. There's a bit of a patch not covered, which I think I do in a second. If I don't, I'll need to go and sort that out. I don't think I do actually notice that. So yeah, I want to clear the patch from left to right, at least be relatively neat with it. And we bring the 4 belts in to the station, getting in the 4 belt balancer. I think we'll just stick with this now, not to overdo the pollution too much, but then when Iron Outpost 2 is completely depleted, we'll probably have to max this thing out and then look at pushing out to that patch just north of us. So it's nice that that patch is so close. This has given us access to about just under 4 million iron, I believe. So that'll keep us going for a little while. I truly thought Iron Outpost 2 was going to last longer than it did. But we just spent the last bit of the episode just having a look at just how much resources up here. There's a stupid number of nice patches. We just come and check on the outpost as well. And in the factory, we've actually run out of copper altogether. That's not coming through fast enough at all. So we need to get that set up next episode. So, yeah, let me know what you think of today's episode with the different editing and recording style. But that's going to be all we have time for. I do hope you have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and please do come and join me in the next episode. Bye-bye.